Good morning, Karen.
Well, good morning, Sebastian. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll be right back. I want to turn my fan on. It's getting warm in here.
Uh,
There, much better.
great.
Hi,
Um,
Sebastian. Hi, Karen.
Good morning. How are
Hi,
you? Oh,
Alfonso.
I, I, I pasted to you in a chat, Sebastian, a PR that I'm missing in your Maxi backport.
Yes.
Yeah,
Um, yes.
yeah. Okay. No, more than I will be on listen mode unless you need to discuss this.
Um, I think that one is pretty much set, right? If we are properly fixing it, then if we are
Okay,
properly doing the backboard, then you can put your backboard on top. Okay.
great.
Okay. Hi, Adam. Hi, Daniel. Hi, Dimitri. Hi, Guillaume. Nice to see you here. Hi, Joseph. Hi, Melissa. So we have additional topics, and please add them here to the weekly meeting. Hi, Travis.
There's the mute button. Yes, hello. Happy Tuesday.
Okay, I would say let's start. We have already 2 minutes past. I click on highlight. Okay. So, hi everyone, and welcome to today's Orchestrator meeting. We have two topics for today. We have first topic is that we have another Podman bug that's two-thirds of the runs failed with that Podman issue.
Oh, Sebastian,
Um,
we lost you for about 20 seconds. Can you repeat that?
you lost me. Okay, so we have another Podman issue, and that's making about two-thirds of all jobs fail, of all Ceph ADM jobs fail. And I'm a bit wondering why this wasn't discovered in the Podman CI. What can we do about it? I mean, um, I'm a bit lost here. Silence. Um,
Who created the Podman tests, and are they specific to
no,
Ceph ADM? I guess.
the two-thirds of our Ceph ADM test cases are failing because of that Podman issue. In some random locations within the test, right? Because there is a race in Podman that prevents containers from being started properly or reliably. And in the end, it means that about two-thirds of all tautology jobs are failing. which is super unfortunate. And I mean, we
Do the
can.
tests do the tests use the latest Podman, or do they use a stable version?
We are using a stable version of Podman.
Okay.
And we are only using the stable version of Podman. But the Podman project is pushing broken stable versions. And the Podman repository only contains a single Podman version. So if we want to have that Podman version, then we need to use a stable version, and that stable version is broken.
So the stable version is updated, and we get the latest stable version, but it's not that
And we
stable.
are using the latest stable version, yes. I mean, we can bring it up internally. That would be one way. We can bring it up into the project that we have issues, which I already did. Other than that, we could completely disable the Podman test for now until that's fixed, which leaves us with some Docker-based tests. Yeah. I don't think we're going to get a great solution here. Okay, let's switch over to the second topic. We have a topic that came from downstream. We have the requirement to properly manage client hosts, and by client host I mean native kernel client hosts, like OpenStack clients or clients that are mounting RBDs or Cephfs. And for that we need to do three things. One is the first requirement is that we are installing packages, the client libraries. The second requirement is that we are properly setting up the ceph.conf file. And the third thing we need to do is we need to distribute client queuings. And everything is already supported by the Ceph AD Manager module, so we can now we are not installing packages, but we are updating the ceph.conf file and we are distributing queuings. That's already implemented. But we have another requirement that we are not going to be able to do constant root, that we're not going to be able to have constant root access to all client hosts. And this is making it kind of complicated to use CephADM because CephADM mandates that CephADM has constant root access to all the client hosts, which we cannot have. Which means that we need to find another solution to distribute the client queuing and the ceph.conf file on the client hosts without having constant root access. Paul made a pull request that adds this functionality to Ceph ADM Ansible. Guillaume, do you have the link to the pull request? To Paul's pull request?
Maybe.
But what my question is, it would be really great to be able to on-demand deploy new Ceph.conf files to the client host, because as soon as Ceph ADM deploys a new monitor or removes a monitor, or evacuates a host where a monitor was located, or anything that changes the mon map, we are having it's going to be necessary to deploy a new ceph.conf across all the client hosts. And it would be really great to have it automated. So how can we have an automated way of deploying the ceph.conf file without having the ability to always do root access to the client hosts?
We have the CFDM agent working, okay, and maybe a possibility for that is to get this information about configuration from the client directly connecting with the CFDM agent to get this the ceph.conf and the key rings, maybe.
Right. Right. But how to deploy the agent?
No, what I'm saying is that in the client, only with an URL pointing an agent in any of the Ceph hosts to get this information, to have an special endpoint in the agent and using clients just to connect to Ceph EDM agent and to retrieve this information and to put this information in the place where the user decide, okay? But I think that if we do not have a constant root access and we do not have the possibility to manage this kind of clients as poor dev clients, I think that the only possibility is just to make easy to retrieve this information.
I mean, yeah, right. That's basically what pull request is doing, right? If I'm not mistaken, Guillaume Dimitri. What does Paul? What is Paul doing in his pull request? He's deploying the client keyring and deploying the ceph.conf file, right?
Yeah, basically it just deployed the the ceph.conf and the client keyring.
If we want to make use of the agent to update the ceph.conf files, which would be great anyway, right? At least eventually, then we need to have a way to deploy the agent. And that's not going to be happen using Ceph ADM because at that point we would need a constant root access. So if we want to use a Ceph ADM agent to update the ceph.conf file, then we would need to magically install the Ceph ADM agent on the host, which is also not going to be happen without
I'm
an
not
external
telling.
tool.
I don't understand very well, okay, because we are talking about clients where the user do not want to provide root access to the Ceph cluster. And we are talking about clients where, well, probably we are not going to have even possibility to install things, okay? So is the user the one that is going to decide what packages he wants to install and what software to use. So I think that the solution is not thinking about how to install, for example, the Ceph ADM agent in these clients. What I'm telling is just to use a connection, a direct connection to the endpoints provided by the Ceph ADM agent in order to retrieve information and provide this information to the user. The user can save the information in one directory, in one folder, and use this information as he wants. Okay, but not installing nothing. Because if they want a pure Ceph client, they can use the possibility to manage clients that we have in this moment in Ceph ADM, and they must provide root access in order to add these nodes to the Ceph cluster.
We don't need that additional indirectional step because if we are having native client, then we don't then we can actually use mon commands to retrieve things. So there is I don't think that there is a need to have an additional layer.
Yeah.
I think Paul's pull request is already okay. Because it provides the ability to deploy the Ceph.conf and the keyrings without an additional way to retrieve the client keyring and the Ceph.conf file. I mean, we could add that, but why should we do that if we can live without it already? If we would have the requirement that we can't easily get the Ceph.conf file generated by Ceph, then at that point we would need to do that. But at least Paul's current pull request makes use of it. So that should actually work properly. Do you have any other ideas how to accomplish this? Does not seem to be the case.
Couldn't we? Well, I know the way we currently deploy the clients for the cluster, the client gets added as another host to the cluster, just like any other thing. It'd probably be a lot of work, but couldn't we make a whole nother set of stuff in the inventory that are clients that don't have the same requirements as the other hosts that need the constant root access? And I know clients right now get checked for Docker or Docker Podman and a few other things. So we'd have to recreate a whole different thing as a separate set of things. But
yeah, my question then is, if the Ceph ADM manager module is supposed to deploy the Ceph conf and the keyring, we would need to remove the ability for the manager module to have root access, right, to those client hosts at some point. So we would need to initially set up the clients as clients without the need of having Podman installed and stuff like that. And then later on remove the ability to do SSH to those client hosts, right? But why do it if we already have the ability to do it via Ceph ADM Ansible?
wouldn't the the old ARHS 3 or whatever, or 4, when they had Ceph Ansible, when they used that to deploy clients, when Ceph Ansible uses some SSH key to get into those clients to bring the files over, does that get cleaned up after, or wouldn't whatever the machine that ran Ceph Ansible still have root access to those machines after the fact? I mean, Ceph Ansible is not running constantly like the manager module is, but they still would have access to those machines, I guess, unless the SSH keys were erased after.
Guillaume, Dimitri? Yeah, that's I think how Ansible works, how Ceph Ansible works. Um, I think the difference here is that at that point the admin host, only the admin host has access to the client hosts, and not the cluster itself. We've seen the very same problem from the OpenStack folks that having the cluster itself has admin access to other hosts really changes security considerations. Because previously only the admin host had admin access to or root access to all the hosts, and now basically all hosts of the Ceph cluster have root access to all the cluster hosts.
Well, I don't know. I guess if that's the concern, then there's really no way to have Ceph ADM automatically do this. That's always going to be the case. If Ceph ADM is going to be in charge of distributing the keys, Ceph ADM, every host of the cluster has access to the Ceph ADM SSH key, which it's then going to use to distribute those keys. So,
Except for if we're deploying the agent, the new Ceph ADM agent on the client host. At that point, we don't need SSH root access to the client host to deploy in a ceph.conf file.
yeah, but
Okay.
like you said earlier, we need a way to deploy the agent, which
Yeah.
I don't know how we're going to do that. That would just be another piece of Ceph ADM Ansible, I guess, maybe.
Which would be kind of on top of pull request.
And what about the pre-flight playbook?
You mean the pre-flight playbook installing the Ceph ADM agent?
Yeah.
That would be kind of a way to completely eliminate the SSH requirement to Ceph ADM, right? If we are properly installing the Ceph ADM agent, before even installing the without using Ceph ADM to install the agent, then we would completely eliminate the requirement to have SSH access completely, but only if the agent is capable of doing everything, right? So right now it only provides information to the manager module, but then we would need to be able to do much more than that, right? We would need to be able to deploy daemons and stuff like that. Mm. I mean, having the agent installed using the pre-flight playbook would make Ceph ADM use the same architecture as Salt. If I'm not mistaken. And at that point, we need to have a way to securely add the Ceph ADM agent to the cluster. I mean, why not? That's a good working architecture. But using the Ceph ADM agent installed on the host seems to be something that's also kind of on top of what Paul does, right? Not completely, but a bit. The Ceph ADM agent would then be able to update the ceph.conf file. Okay. Yeah, let's conclude this topic for today, as there is no perfect answer. Behave tests. Omega.
No, in this case, it's Arun, the one that is going to explain.
Yeah, please.
I hope Arun is here. Yes. Arun, can you hear us?
I can hear you. You sound fine.
Yeah. Well, it seems that there is a problem. Okay, well, in any case, we can go with the next point. It's about Rook. Okay. Is Travis, is you the one that?
Yeah, I just added those couple quick notes today. Just I know you're working on the manager test that's failing, so the device listing was. So it looks like your PR fixed that one. Did you see my comment? It looks like the status is
Yeah.
failing now too.
Yeah. But I think that is another cause. Okay. I don't know because it's new. Okay. But the thing is
Yeah,
that
it's fine.
well, the problem with the list of devices is fixed, and it's because the new code that Joseph has implemented in order to use a storage class. Okay. In order to detect what are the persistent volumes that are available to use for OSTs. Okay, so I think that this is fixed, and let's see what happened with the other part.
Right. Yeah, sounds good. And then, yeah, my other note here is just that I don't have any meaningful update on local storage. So, it's coming along bit by bit.
Yeah, very interested in that. Okay, so let's see. There is an open document. I think that we have a list of requirements that, which is great. Okay, and well, let's see. I'm probably I don't know who is going to be the best people to start with the project. Okay, maybe the same people that have implemented the local storage operator, or maybe we can start the project by ourselves and well, having some kind of support from these people. But let's see. Let's.
Right. Yeah, there. And I guess one update, we did have a meeting on Thursday with some people on the OCS team, Sahina and Anat and a few others, just to talk about what the requirements are. And the requirements felt like it's the same thing we've already been expecting. We've already been talking about these. They're already in the doc for the most part. And yeah, so the next question I think is how we start off the project and how do we work with the LSO team to make sure we want to do the right thing in the long term. and not just do something without them. So it needs to work with LSO. I
Yeah.
think that's the next question in my mind. Yeah.
Okay. That's it.
So
I'm volunteer.
yeah. And
Okay.
yeah, now I need to drop for the rook huddle, but that's all I have.
Okay.
Okay. Arun, are you available? Can you hear us?
Yeah, yes. Sorry, I had a
Okay.
connection
Okay.
issue. Yes.
Can you explain the thing about the test, the Google Summer of Code project?
Yeah. So, to begin with, I have been working for past 2 months on implementing a new kind of a test case for integration testing using the behave test, where we are able to provide the specific kind of commands and provide the specific kind of outputs we are required, that we can specify that how the system should work or the command should work. And I have been using the behave uh, framework to implement these test cases. So I have implemented 3 kinds of test cases to initially start with, as a proof of concept that we can test the Ceph shell commands and adding OSDs. And as I'm currently working as also to include RDB functions as well. And we would like to have the review from the community on this. I think I'll share the pull request.
Okay, another important thing that I think, well, I think is worth to comment is that for the next week, we can use part of the time of this meeting in order to present to the community a demo of this kind of integration test. Okay, we have the basic functionality, but I think that for the target, for the Google Summer of Code project, it's completely achieved. I'm very happy, okay, because, well, it's very simple, the code. If you take a look, it's ridiculous simple. And I think that we have something that is enough powerful in order to test almost every kind of feature in the Ceph cluster, and very easy to use. Obviously can be improved, obviously can be extended, okay, but I think that is a good proof of concept about how to execute integration tests in a very easy way, and to have the possibility to execute this test in your own laptop, or to link the test automatically with the Jenkins system. Let's see the next week we can have a demo.
That would be great. I think the behave tests are especially interesting for Ceph volume as well. Maybe not in the short term, but in midterm, to maybe make use of a common way of doing those behave tests using VMs maybe. If it turns out that this is something we really want to jump on, then that would be great.
Okay. We can talk.
Yeah, thank you. Again, and thank you, Arun, for the pull request. Okay, is there anything else for today? Perfect. See you next week. Bye.
Guys, bye.
Bye.
Bye.